I'm going to talk about the barriers of being an asylum seeker. In my case, it started long back when I was at home. I was in a country where there is no political tolerance. So because my family, they were working for the white people's farm, we were targeted, and they didn't belong to the government party, which was in power, which is still in power even now. So that's why we were targeted. And what happened, they came to our house, and our house was burnt down, and all three of us girls, and including my mom, we were abused by the people who came to destroy our house. And as I was the youngest, I was 13 at the time, I got pregnant and I had a child at my early age. So I did not much enjoy being a child, because I became like a mom as a teenager. Even though I was sort of ostracized in the society because of my situation, even though it was not my doing. So my uncle took me to another country, which was a neighboring country to my original country. When I was there, because I didn't know the difference, fortunately I continued with my education, and I finished my education. I went to the tertiary level. Then while I was working there, when I finished my education, my uncle who had taken me from my country was killed. So that's when my other journey, which was a long journey, began. I came to UK. I didn't know about the asylum seeking thing. When I came, I became sort of destitute because I didn't have enough money to help me to get the accommodation and to buy food. So I was on the street crying, and somebody helped me, and that's how I became an asylum seeker, because I came to Leeds. They helped me to give me the papers to work, of which I didn't know it was illegal. Then I was arrested. When I was arrested, the whole cycle of distrust to the people in power began, because when I was arrested, horrible thing happens. I was told to strip down naked and squat, which traumatized me for a long time. And my case took a long time. It was one of the longest, because it took 12 years, 2 months. All this time I was refused 4 times because they didn't believe my story. There was this thing of disbelief if you don't say your story at the first interview, of which I was afraid, because I couldn't tell a young guy that I was raped at 13 and I have a child whom I have left back in Africa. And I started working for my son because I wanted him to have a better life than I did. Everything that I was doing, he was my focus. And fortunately, he was a serious boy, and he finished his high school, which you call here A-levels, and he was at a university. And then one fateful day, I got a call that he's passed away. After that, I didn't want to live as well. I just wanted to end it all. So I started self-harming, and I just felt like I was not worth living, because I didn't live for anything. And all my people, they were back in Africa. I didn't have anyone. I didn't have anyone even to talk to. I became destitute as well, because when my case was refused the 4th time, I was not getting any help. So I became what we call it a modern slavery, because I had to work in somebody's house, and I was not even allowed to switch on the heating when it's cold, because they were saying they were helping me. So for me, because of my experience that I had experienced as being raped, it was better for me to work in somebody's house than to go outside or to be in the street without any shelter. I rather work as a slave in the house, because I knew nobody would come and hurt me inside the house. So it continued until somebody spotted me in the church, because in everything that I have gone through, going to church has been my strong point, because I know whatever happened, God sees it. And for the reason that I'm still alive, is the one who's keeping me, because he knows my destiny. Whatever happens, I always have that faith that he will see me through. So that's what kept me going and kept me hoping that things would change. So, but even then, there were so much barriers in life, because I didn't know there are services that I can access, because I was thinking if you are an asylum seeker, as I was told, I'm not supposed to work, you cannot access anything. So I became sort of recluse, because I was afraid to mix with other people, thinking that if they know my story, they are going to tell the Home Office, and I won't be able to get more help if the Home Office knows that I'm still here in the country. Even though when my son passed away, I wanted them to deport me. They told me that they were not going to deport me, because at once they tried to deport me to South Africa, but I was returned from South Africa. So they just left me because they couldn't deport me to anywhere. At the time, I stayed without any status, and I met my husband, because God always have a provision for all of us. When I met my husband, he's a British. He didn't know that there is somebody who is not allowed to work. So he took me, sort of fed me, because I didn't think of it as his duty to do that. If it was somebody else, he would have said, I cannot take this as a burden for me. So, but he helped me. I stayed in his house without any help. He even went to Liverpool with me when I was putting the fresh claim in 2010. And I stayed, even though I have gone there with him another 4 years without hearing from the Home Office. So at that time, I couldn't do anything. I could only go to college. I cannot go to the university, because at the university, if you don't have a status, you are not allowed to enroll at the university. So to me, all those things were the barriers. And when I was finally given this status in 2014, I wanted to continue with my education, and I met more barriers, because I was told that I will have to pay for my tuition, of which I was not able to do it, because I had not been working for so many years. And I was expected to pay as an international student, which we could not afford. And when I wanted to start working, I had to top up my degree by doing another 9 months. Even by doing that, I was expected to pay, so I couldn't. So the only thing that kept me going was volunteering. As I had said before, volunteering, it made me to be feeling like I worth living, because when I was helping somebody or some other people, I realized I thought my problems were worse than others. But when I met other people, I realized I was even luckier. I count myself lucky, because some people, even though I went through a lot, some I still have the smile, some they don't have a smile, some they even have children that they don't love those children because of what happened to them. And I always think, if I'm volunteering and help one person to become a better person, I will think I have done something in the world. Even though I was not fortunate to see my son, but I always think, if I see somebody having his children or her children here and helping them to become what we didn't have an opportunity to become, for me that would be a comfort that I've made a change. Because if you change one thing in life, you could change the society, even the nation. Thank you so much.